The lighting is absolutely atrocious. I have no idea why. God fucking hates me. Hi, welcome back. You may say, Alice, isn't it a little bit too early to talk about like the newest releases for the next year? Probably, it's November, but I wanted to talk about the December releases because the brain rot, like the brain worms that are actively eating my brain right now with the release of Stranger Things, the last season, and all of the books that have been announced. I'm having a crisis, okay? Because I know, I was like, why are there so few releases for next year? And then I have 40 tabs open on my computer. So I have my computer. I also have written notes because I'm trying to go analog, you know, to be an analog girly. Why is it so difficult? So I wanted to start in December for the releases. We have a lot of very, very fun books planned for December. Okay, so the first one, which is going to be a little bit of a surprise, but I'm having a vampire renaissance. I saw the Dracula Luc Besson movie, kind of awful, stunning, visually stunning, and then the female protagonists are treated like dirt. I was like, I need to read a good vampire story. Is it going to be The Last Vampire by Romina Garber? Probably not. Probably not, because the blurb says Pride and Prejudice meets Crave. When Austen loving Lorena Navarro attends a new boarding school expecting to find her own Mr. Darcy, but accidentally finds the world's last vampire instead. And I mean, that sounds fun, right? That sounds fun. That sounds a little bit trashy, but also vampires, you know? I have been bookmarking this book for a very, very long while, and I'm so happy. 2nd of December is going to be a very, very big release date. So also on the 2nd of December, we have Better in Black. It's I think novella collections about the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and it's about book couples. Like all of the Cassandra Clare's couples have 10 couples united by love, divided by danger. I am one of those people that wrote, I wish I'd written, the Shadowhunters Chronicles I'd be reading right now. But no, I read all of the books. I read all of the main series, okay? Some were good, some were very, very bad. I'm talking to you, Los Angeles. But I mean, I need to read them. I started when I was a teen, and I'm not going to stop now, especially if it's like short stories, and a lot of good early reviews are coming out for this collection. I'm not impressed by the cover because it really, really looks like they used AI. I hope there's another cover done by a real artist that I can, you know, if it's not done by AI, kudos to the drawers, but it's so small I cannot fucking tell, and it's coming out also the 2nd of December. Same date, 2nd of December, big release date. The Book of Luke by Lovell Holder. And this, outside of the stunning cover, I think it's a stunning cover. First line says, for fans of Survivor, which I'm not a fan of, I've never actually seen it, and Less. If you don't know Less by Anderson Greer, one of my favorite books of all time, possibly not the favorite book, but in the top 3. It's a book about the queer discoveries of a failed writer in his 50s in America. And I think it's one of the funniest books ever written, and it also really, really helped me in my queer journey. This talks about a footballer, very famous footballer, that gets into a car crash, ruins his career. He decides to keep his fame by participating into this Survivor kind of show called Endeavor, and he gains a reputation there, but he leaves the show because of conflicts that we don't know about. 10 years later, he's a very famous openly gay senator, one of the only ones, and he decides to go back to the last season of this Survivor kind of shows, and he has to reconcile with what happened there. I'm very interested to see how it pertains to Less. Same date, 2nd of December, The Definitions by Matt Green. Green. This is a dystopian novel about memories, and I haven't been reading dystopian novels for a very long time. Sci-fi is my favorite genres of all time. This talks about, there's this rehabilitation center called The Center. We follow a cast of characters that are nameless. They're students, and their memories have been wiped by a very strange illness, and they are there to study what is happening with their brains. It says the definitions examines the limits of language, the power of human connection, and the way the human spirit can flourish even under the most oppressive conditions. I am very, very interested about the limits of language. Studying languages and not just speaking, the way they function is one of my favorite subjects. So another fun one, same date, Intergalactic Waste Management LLC by Ash Bishop. This, just by the cover, sounded bonkers. The former intergalactic exterminator Russ Leslie has found a new gig at the Intergalactic Waste Management LLC alongside with old allies, and then he finds a body of one of his old good friends, and so he has to, team up with his old colleagues, an investigator. We go into the underbelly of the city and there's cyborgs, and I think it sounds so fun. Oh, very, very weird thing for January. Usually January is the month that a lot of books come out because it's, beginning of the new year. I don't have a single book pinned down. Weird. And I have a single book for February. On the 17th of February, The Sun and the Star Maker by Rachel Griffin is going to come out. And like many of these books, this is possibly one of the most stunning covers. And it's basically because of that cover that I chose it. This talks about witches. He is called Star Maker. He can make stars, I think, and she is getting to be married, and on her wedding day a fateful encounter in the frostbitten woods changes everything. So this is a romantasy. I'm not usually a romantasy enjoyer because I think a lot of patriarchal and misogynistic views get thrown into the genre because it's very new. I'm hoping that this is a soft, genuine romance set in a fantasy world. So we'll see. For March, very interesting month because Just Friends by Hayley Pham is going to come out on the 3rd of March. I have a very interesting relationship with Hayley Pham. She's a YouTuber, a very, very big YouTuber that has been doing booktube for a couple of years. I was following her when we were the same kind of age in high school and she was doing dance, pre-professional, and I was really, really interested in her vlogs. She was vlogging her daily life, and then she got married to another fellow YouTuber very, very early. They were in a weird phase in which they were doing like the entitled rich YouTubers and also very, very Christian, and I was like, not for me. And then I think they both evolved as a couple and as individuals. And I am a fan of Hayley's booktube channel. I don't think her tastes are particularly attuned to mine. I like her booktube. I like her aesthetic. I'm also interested, very interested in her writing journey. So I don't know. I think this could be really a really fun novel. It's a friends to lovers in a small town, very closed doors, romance. This could also be not good at all. On the 24th of March, though, we have two very interesting releases. We have Season of Glass and Iron by Amal El-Mohtar, who is one of the authors of This Is How You Lose the Time War. This is a collection of fairy tale and folk stories. I liked This Is How You Lose the Time War. I think it should have been it should have dwelled more into this very interesting world that they created, both of the authors. I'm curious about Amal El-Mohtar as a single author and not like a four-hands project. And then we have Trace Elements by Jo Walton and Ada Palmer. Jo Walton wrote, again, one of my favorite books of all time. In English it's called In Other World. I'm going to put it right here. This is a non-fiction book that dwells into sci-fi fantasy, the story of sci-fi fantasy as a genre, how is it evolving, how we need to distance ourselves from purity culture in sci-fi fantasy. So this is mostly for research, but I know that the people who are writing this book are very good and talented writers. Yeah, in April, again, interesting books. I have Project V by Pak Salyan. Pak Salyan wrote Magical Girl Retires that I've listened to in audiobook form last month. I liked it. I think it had a lot of very cool ideas. It would have worked better as an animated movie or a short collection. It was kind of shallow in the more narratively, parts of the book, but I like the concept, I like the writing. So Project V talks about mechas, which is one of my favorite things to read about, and in mangas and animes and books. And it's supposed to be longer, so not just a novella this time. And then I have Honor and Heresy. The problem with this one is that it says perfect for fans of catabasis and Standing Running. Standing Running was fine, was a 3-star. I'm not a fan of R.F. Kuang's writing, but I'm a very big fan of her concepts for books. Honor and Heresy, it's an atmospheric, gothic, dark academic fantasy of two scholars racing each other to find answers to an invasion in a haunted library. Which sounds like it was chemically engineered to be one of my favorites, right? And it's also a queer book. I don't have any book for May also. That's wild. That's wild. I think May, it's a perfect in-between times for pre-releases of summer books. Okay, in June, I have The Secret World of Briar Rose by Cindy Pham, another YouTuber which I am a massive Cindy fan. Okay, read with Cindy. 1, the cover is stunning. 2, it's a Sleeping Beauty retelling. I know she's a massive fan of the Lunar Chronicles, so I'm hoping that it is something of that vein. It talks about escapism and grief, and I know she suffers from depression, and she talked about it in a YouTube video about this book, about how she used to use sleep as escapism from her, feeling of depression. And as someone who, myself, has dwelled in those, dark recesses of the mind, I can't wait. I can't wait. The cover is also, one of the most beautiful cover ever illustrated. And I have another cover by, okay, I haven't bought it, but it will be a cover by A Prince Among Pirates. A charming nobleman accidentally joins a pirate ship and falls for its debonair captain. Very queer for fans of F.T. Lukens and Our Flagsmith's Death. It's by Katie Abdu. And I mean, just look at that cover. I want this to be fun, I want this to be piratey, and I want this to be very, very gay. That's all that I need. July. July is my month, okay? It's not my birthday month, but it's my month. Because 1, Heartstopper Volume 6, the last volume by Elise Ousmane, is going to come out on the 2nd of July. This feels so bittersweet. I've started reading Heartstopper when it was relatively niche on Tumblr, because it is always free to read on Tumblr, on Elise Ousmane's Tumblr. This feels so full circle with the series, like the TV show. I hope it will be like a very satisfying, good ending, because I haven't been spoiling myself with the Tumblr uploads, And then I have, it's a tentative date, okay? We don't know if it's going to come out on that day, but on the 1st of July, it's a Steam expected to be released. Red God by Pierce Brown. Red Rising is one of my favorite series of all time. This is the year of the all-time favorites, I have a particular relationship with this series. It's one of my favorite sci-fi stories of all time. The original trilogy got me through high school. The quartet, I have a very strange relationship with it because I love it. I love it. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I know, and I can objectively see that the author kind of lost himself, especially through Dark Age. That was a massive book that needed to be edited down, and a lot of the POVs should have been edited out. And that's exactly what he did with Lightbringer, the 3rd book. And I love Lightbringer. Lightbringer destroyed me, and it's such an impactful sci-fi novel, and this is the finale. I just want Darrow and Mustang to be happy. Is that so much to ask? Apparently so. For August, another cover by, I'm so sorry, but I know the author, Immortal Game by Alison Saft. Look at that fucking cover. I read A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft, and I found that it was a book about alchemy. The alchemy part was so good. The atmosphere, very gothic, very wet bog kind of book. The love story, it's where I think it falls down. It was underdeveloped and I didn't really like it. They had more of a platonic chemistry, in my opinion, the two protagonists. But this is a lesbian romance. And also, it talks about chess. It talks about chess players. The Immortal Game is about chess. Watcher of this channel will know that I am an avid chess books reader. I read every book on God's green earth about chess, be it non-fiction or fiction or, fantasy or contemporary literature or historical fiction about chess. I don't know what it is, but that game, I'm awful at chess, okay? I'm way too stupid. My memory is not what it should be to be good at chess, but I love books about chess. I'm very hyped about this. And then I have The Dream Thieves, the graphic novel by Maxie Stiefvater and illustrated by Sas Milledge. Those graphic novels cost a ton, but I still have to buy the first volume. This is the second volume of the Raven Cycle brought into graphic novel form, and it's just so perfect. The character design, the colors, it's perfect. It's going to come out. Oh, I haven't told you. The Immortal Game is going to come out on the 4th of August, and also the Dream Thief graphic novel. And then a very unexpected book. I did not know about this. I have Dreamland by Olivia Blake. It's going to come out on the 26th of August. And it's another gothic novel from Olive Blake, an intimate, contemporary and visceral gothic novel about family secrets, unsolved murders, and ill-fated summer love. I don't know if niche or minority is the right word, but I love Olive Blake's writing. Is it a little bit flowery and pretentious? Sure, but a lot of the times it's in a way that I really appreciate. A lot of her books are some of my favorites in the fantasy genre. I love The Atlas Six, and I also think that the people who rated the last book like 1 or 2 stars, this is why we have a literary crisis, because in a lot of those they review things that have not happened in the book, and if you just read the words, you'll know why. This talks about, we are in LA, okay, and a lot of girls have been murdered in Santa Ana. One of the 2 protagonists is a generational acclaimed movie star, and it's a whirlwind summery romance, but people are dying. I only have 2 books up until the last, month of the year, because I have 1 book for September, and it's That Beat by Leigh Bardugo. This is going to come out on the 1st of September, and this, I think, will be the last book in the Alex Stern trilogy. It was supposed to be like 5 books, and all of the books about different protagonists, and not protagonists, but like different adventures, but it got derailed because the story from the first book kind of took life of its own. I really liked the first and second book, Nymphhouse and Hellbent. I think I liked Hellbent a little bit more, which is a very unpopular opinion. But the blurb just says, from Leigh Bardugo, this novel will be headed your way in 2026. Still waiting to hear from my publisher on the date. I hoped for spring, but we may be doomed for fall. So, and the last book, it's not really a book, it's called The Area X, The Southern Reach Files. This is an expansion of, again, one of my favorite series of all time, this time by Jeff Vandermeer, and it's supposed to come out on the last day of the year of 2026, the 31st of December. This is just an expansion of short stories and details for the Southern Reach series, the Area X, that got an expansion, like a 4th book that I still need to read because I'm waiting for the translation. It's just so weird, and I love ecofiction in which nature becomes a monster, but the real monster is us. We are the monster. So these were all the books that I'm really excited to read for next year. I have been filming for half an hour. I thought to myself, oh, there's such a few collection of books. There's so many. I hope you enjoyed. I do have some socials, they're down below, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be very soon because I'm filming a very exciting vlog. Goodbye! Mwah.